Hi and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about the Phonics Screening 2022 that's going to be taking place very soon in schools, along with other assessments that are all back in primary schools this year 2022. It's been a couple of years since any formal assessments have been done in schools. Since 2019 was when we had the last assessments due to the break over the last 2 years because of COVID and the disruptions that schools have experienced. So this is part of a series of videos that I'm doing about all the assessments that are going to be happening in primary schools in the next coming months. Please subscribe to the channel. We've had a few new subscribers recently, so really a big thank you for that and for the support for the channel. Really much appreciated. And yeah, if you want to see more about assessments in primary school, then yeah, keep watching. Thank you. Okay, hi guys. So this video I'm going to outline some of the things that are coming up regarding the Year 1 Phonics Screening Check. First of all, the date. So the Phonics Screening Check is due to take place in school the week commencing Monday the 6th of June 2022. So your teacher, the teacher of your children, will know this date, and they probably won't mention it to the children. It's not something they want to worry the children about. But if just for your own knowledge of when this is going to take place, it's going to be the week commencing Monday the 6th of June 2022. And it's not been done. Well, the schools have probably done their own assessments, but it's not been done properly, and the results had to report to the government since before COVID. So 2019 was the last time it was done. Who is it for? So it's for Year 1 children. And so if your child is in Year 1, they'll be doing this in June. And if it's also for any children in Year 2 who didn't pass last year. Now, I know officially the test wasn't done, but the school have done their own assessments. And if a child didn't pass the phonics test last year when they were in Year 1, they'll do it again in Year 2 at the same time. So that'll be the same week. If a pupil is absent during the check week, which, can happen, you can administer the check to them until Friday the 17th of June. So it could be anywhere at any time in June. The school needs to do it during the week beginning the 6th for all children. But if a child is absent, then, they can administer the check any time between then and the 17th of June. Any pupil who is absent from school for this entire period, though, however, will be recorded as absent in the results data, and there won't be any record of their assessment check. So that they will potentially have to also do it in when they are in Year 2 if they miss it in Year 1. Rest breaks. So, the children are only in Year 1. It's not supposed to be an intensive test. It's just supposed to be a check, and it's very informal. They usually sit with one adult, and that's usually the adult they're most comfortable with, which is usually their teacher. But it could also be a teaching assistant or another member of staff who works in Year 1. It's not a timed test, so it's not timed, isn't the check, but usually takes each pupil between 4 and 9 minutes to complete. There are 40 words altogether for them to read. The teacher won't put any pressure on the child during this check. They'll give the child enough time to respond to each word. And if the child's sounding it out and then blending it, it may take them some time and a few tries to get it exactly right on some occasions. If they find it difficult to concentrate, or they may experience tiredness during this time, which little children can, then the teacher can also use rest breaks. Given whenever they are needed. So if a child has done a couple of words, maybe they've got halfway through, and the teacher can see that they just need a little bit of time to get themselves together before doing the next bit, they can give them a short rest break. So again, it's not meant to be in any way pressurized for the little children. It's they've almost got to just feel like it's a bit of fun, and they're not really not really realizing they're doing any kind of check at all. A lot of schools get the children to use sound buttons. I talk about these in another video on the channel, which I'll put a link to at the very end of this video. But essentially, sound buttons are, well, the children will learn to put a dot underneath a particular sound and a dash underneath a particular sound. If it's something they usually use in phonics, then they're allowed to do that on the paper. So they'll be given a blank paper, a blank test paper, sorry, with the words on. I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. And they can put sound buttons on, essentially drawing a dot for a short sound and a dash for a long sound before blending them. Here's an example of what that might look like. So here you've got 3 alien words, k, I, g, st, and b, aim. They're not meant to make sense. They're meant to be, nonsense words, but it should still show the children's ability to apply their phonics sounds. And here you can see underneath the k, there's a dot, and then underneath IGH, there's a dash to show that that's a long sound. And after the child has put the dot and the dash in, then they can then try to blend them together. So k, I, kai, g, st, gerst. So sound buttons are allowed during it, particularly if the children are used to using them. It's quite unfair to not let them use that during the check itself. Okay, so that's sound buttons. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to come out of there and show you the screening itself. So this is the 2019 paper, the last time it was ever done. You can get this from the government website. Just type in 2019 Phonics Screening Check. And it's quite fun looking. It's meant to make the children, laugh a little bit. It's meant to be fun. These are the aliens that go with the alien words. And the children will know that the word doesn't make sense because there's a picture of an alien next to it. So they will go through, and the teacher will ask them to read the words on the page, either by putting their sound buttons underneath and then reading them, by just reading them if they don't need to sound it out. But what tends to happen is the child will sound it out, then blend it. And if they blend it correctly, then they will have a tick. So, s-ut, sut, y-a-d, yad, d-op, dop, ukt, ukt. And that's what they'll be asked to do. Now, there are a couple of different mistakes that children could make. For example, they could sound it out wrong. So, m-e-ch. If they use the ch sound instead of the k sound and say metch, then that would be a cross. That wouldn't be correct. Another thing they can do is to sound it out correct, but then blend it wrong. So say sh-i-g, or then say to sound out sh-i-g, but then say shog. So if they say when they blend it incorrectly, then that would be a cross also. However, if they sound it out wrong, but then blend it correctly, then that is correct. So if they say j-o-l, jol, okay, but then if they said j-o-l, joil, and blended it correctly and said joil correct, then that will be a tick. I go into more detail about the phonics test screening itself in another really useful video. Again, I'll put it at the end of this one. But that's what it looks like. You can have a look at it. You can get it online for free. The teachers will have something that looks like this, where every time a child would read the word, they'll tick it if they've blended it and read it correctly. If not, they'll put a tick in the incorrect box. And they sometimes just make a comment here if the child has, depending on what the child has actually said. So maybe the mistake they made, or the error they made, or sometimes if they did get it correct, but they self-corrected. So if they said it incorrect, but then went back and said it correct, then they might put a comment in there, self-correct. Because a child can also do that as well. They don't have to get it right the very first time. If they go back and then if it doesn't sound right, they go back and then read it correctly. That's also okay. So that's the screening. That's how it will take place. Now, the key question, which a lot of you might be wondering, is how many do they need to get correct to pass the screening check? There are 40 words on the test altogether, and the child will need to answer 32 correct. So making no more than 8 mistakes. What tends to happen is the section 1 here, which are the easier sounds, they tend to get most of those correct. They'll be the easier ones. But then down here, they tend to get a bit more difficult, okay, with more split digraph sounds. You can see the words get longer, more difficult to sound out. It could be a lot of these words maybe that they find difficult to say. However, if it's a word they recognize, like the dentist, they may have seen that before, and they just say dentist, they can also get it correct that way. So, yeah, 32 is how many they need to pass. And if not, they'll have to retake when they go into year 2. Obviously, the screening takes place in June. The school will get their results at some point in July. So do ask the year 1 teachers if they manage to pass their phonics screening. Okay, that's it from me. And thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe at the end of this video if you found it useful. I'm going to do videos on the Key Stage 1 SATs and the Key Stage 2 SATs that are going to be coming up in the next couple of months. So please subscribe if you'd like more information on those videos. Thank you everyone who does already subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. The channel is beginning to grow and it's really great to see that. So thank you so much. And please check out this video here, which is on also the phonics screening, where I go through the paper and show you how a child might attempt it. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.